What's up everybody, it's your boy Meme here. We're on Windows right now. Not actually, we're in a virtual machine. It's because tomorrow I'm going to be doing some SOP work for the city of SeaTac, and so I need to be able to use Microsoft Word because I need to be able to send the docx to other people. Not actually, in theory I could be using something like LibreOffice Writer, or I could be using something like Google Docs. However, because in theory, I'm going to be the only person interacting with this document directly. However, the thing I really worry about is, one, Word just has more features. I like LibreOffice Writer, and I used it for all of my assignments in college, except for the stupid Microsoft Office class I had to take. Of course, I couldn't use LibreOffice for that, but it's a good enough office suite, LibreOffice. I enjoy it. But the only problem is that there's a lot of weird esoteric stuff that I like doing in Word specifically that's a little worse, or like a little different, or a little less intuitive on LibreOffice. Like for example, I was doing a lot of safety work for the company I work for, not the city of SeaTac, a different company, and I was using LibreOffice Calc for a lot of that. So I was doing a lot of spreadsheets because I was compiling a lot of different links and a lot of different information for safety stuff, like safety documents. And so I was using LibreOffice Calc, right? And it sucked because I wasn't able to effectively move a chunk of this spreadsheet into LibreOffice Writer as a table, right? And that's something I'm able to do in Word pretty easily, right? And also there's just so much more documentation. There's so much up-to-date documentation regarding the Microsoft Office suite. I like LibreOffice, but you look up how to do something in LibreOffice and it's like, are you using this version from like 4 years ago? And it's like, no, I'm not using this version from 4 years ago. It's like Nix, right? It's like, no, like, it's better than Nix, but it's not much better. Yeah, so I woke up this morning at 3:30, and then I got ready for work, and then I went to work. Nothing really happened at work today. My boss, I guess one of my coworkers. There used to be one guy I worked with, and now there's two guys I work with, and they both want to be called my coworkers, but they're my bosses. They're quite a bit older than me. They're way older than me. No offense. And they're way more experienced. And I'm just like I'm a little guy they keep around, because they can point at things and ask me to do things that are easy, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So then they don't waste their time, and the company doesn't waste time paying them, or the company doesn't waste money paying them to do, silly tasks, right? And so, the newer guy drove me over, and yeah, I basically just worked on waterproofing today. I am so slow. I would say I'm upwards of maybe 10 times slower at doing this waterproofing than I think either of the other two people I work with are. And I think some of that can be chalked up to, wisdom. They have a lot more experience doing this type of thing. But I think a lot of it is also like, you may hear a Windows startup sound in a second. But I think a lot of it is also, I don't know, like I think it's just not my nature to do, manual labor. I think it's just not really in my wheelhouse. And I'm just naturally not very good at it. I'm pretty good with computers naturally, as you may know, but especially regarding physical stuff, it's like a little weird. I really like this job because it's given me a lot of experience. Like I know how to use what's it called, like a hammer drill, the thing that goes down into concrete. I'm not making my point very effectively, but I know how to use a lot of tools I didn't know how to use before, and I know how to do a lot of things I didn't know how to do. And it's actually like, I've basically been in like, shop class for 3 years, and it's been very informative. And so I'm very, like when I live on my own, I can definitely do stuff around the house in a way that I wouldn't have been able to if I didn't start working at this job. However, I am still pretty slow, and that's pretty embarrassing, and I made a pretty bad mistake today, which really sucked. I don't want to get into like the specifics of like describing exactly what I was doing, because it's a little difficult to describe, and it's a little esoteric. Oh my god, one sec. Sorry, my dad was imitating someone. the what was I saying? Yeah, so I'm not going to explain the specifics of exactly what I was doing, but I had to drill some steel. Well, I had to attach some steel to the concrete floor of the warehouse that contains the new lab, because we're moving over to a new lab, and that's why we're doing waterproofing, because it's a wet lab. We need to do waterproofing on the new lab that we're moving to, and so I was drilling it down, and I think when I was drilling into the concrete to put the concrete anchor in, the drill was at an angle and I hadn't realized, and so by the time I had done the second hole, and I had put the first concrete anchor in, it was definitely like at it wasn't at an angle, but it was at a different, it maybe wasn't a day. It was like not, it wasn't right. I brought my boss over and he was like, oh man, okay. And so we had to like make a shim and we had to put it in. And it really sucked because it was, the first big real job that like this new person, this new boss of mine has asked me to do. And not only am I like 10 times slower at it than them, and I'm very confident he's not making 10 times more money than me. And two, the so it's not even, so unless he's making 10 times more money than me, it's not worth it for me to be 10 times slower, you know what I mean? And two, I made a pretty catastrophic mistake when doing it the first time, and so it really messed me up emotionally at the time, because I was worried of like what it would represent of like my skill level, and also I was kind of just freaked out at like just how incompetent I was at this. And it's true that it was my first time doing it, but also like, it's not, that level of grace can only be extended so far before it's like, okay, maybe you're just not very good at this. And I feel like we're, heading toward that line. But maybe I'm being unconfident in myself. Maybe if I work on this long enough, maybe I'll get pretty fast at it. But it's one of those, like, even in my sandwich shop job, like, I'm not the fastest at dishes, right? And I've been working there for over 3 years. I might be the fastest at making bags, and I might be the fastest at, like, 2 other things. But, like, there are some things that you're just, like, naturally, like, there are ways that you do things that are slower than the ways that other people do things. So, like, this morning I had a protein shake and a banana. No, I didn't. I had some seaweed salad. I also had a sandwich this morning. Then I went to work. I had some soup, some like tortellini, like chicken soup. And then I keep I keep touching my hair because I washed it today, so it's all weird. And then for dinner we had pizza. That's pretty good. And yeah, I don't work tomorrow, so I'm going to be doing some SOP work tomorrow for the City of SeaTac. That's why I have Windows.